Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. AM 630. WMAL.
8:07 on the Morning Majority, Friday morning. Senator Rand Paul is with us. How's it going, Senator?
Morning. Good to be with you.
Hello. I heard you got to watch some of the debate last night. How do you feel about how this race is shaping up? Anybody lose ground, gain ground last night? What do you think?
I'm kind of partial to that, Ron Paul.
You do have a horse in that race.
It's kind of hard for me to be objective.
I understand. So tell me, the president was in, I believe, in your home state yesterday, was he not?
Yeah, he decided to go down there and have a rally, and I thought I'd go down and see what a Democrat rally was like, so I went along for the ride.
How did you enjoy that?
Well, the rally was a little bit, like a Republican being at a Democrat rally. When he introduced me, they all booed. And so, but the only consolation was when they introduced McConnell and Boehner, who weren't there, they got louder boos than I got. So that was my only consolation.
Well, why did you want to be on Air Force One, and what did you hope to accomplish by going down there?
Well, really, I think I did accomplish what my goal was. The president, was considerate. He did try to quiet the crowd down, obviously, but he also spent about 10 minutes with me on the plane, and I got to present an idea that I've been working on. Senator Coburn has been talking about how we set aside 10% of the transportation funds for beautification projects, squirrel sanctuaries, turtle tunnels, flower beds, and meanwhile we've got bridges crumbling and falling down, and I think everybody on both sides of the aisle thinks we ought to fix the bridges. But I came up with the idea of why don't we get rid of the 10% enhancement beautification projects and put that in a special fund for emergency bridge repairs. And the president, I think, seemed receptive to the idea. I can't speak for him, but I told him, look, this is a small bill that I think I could get Republican support on. It would help to fix an isolated problem. And I said, look, if you help me, I'll get the Republican votes and we'll pass this. And, the rally back down there was basically about the jobs bill, but, his jobs bill, unless he's willing to talk to Republican leadership in the House, isn't really going anywhere. He needs to ask us our opinions. And so if he really wants to do something other than the campaign rally, I mean, if he thinks he can just win re-election by, doing the class warfare routine, he doesn't need me. But if he thinks he needs to pass things and really wants to fix a problem, and, I have a bridge that's closed down, or my state does have a bridge closed down in Louisville, if he wants to fix that, I will work with the president. I'm not above working with the president if he wants to actually pass legislation.
Do you think 10% is enough?
It may not be enough, to tell you the truth, because the fund wasn't quite as big as I anticipated it would be in the beginning. It will do emergency repairs. There is no emergency repair fund right now. And also it will allow for the first time the highway administrator to prioritize which bridges need to be fixed. I'm new up here. I'm a physician. I look at things as how you fix problems. And so when our bridge was closed down, I asked the highway administrator, do you have a list of bridges that need to repair? And he said, no, there is no national list of bridges that need to be repaired. What happens is they send it to all 50 states. They divide the money 50 ways, and then you have a much smaller pool of money, but then you have each state determining what their emergencies are. And really, I think a bridge over a river between states is legitimately an interstate problem and a federal problem, and you need to pool the money or there's not enough money. Like, for example, enhancements, we only got $28 million in Kentucky. So you need something in the hundreds of millions at the very least to fix bridges and to build bridges. So I think this is a great idea. It doesn't add any new spending. All it does is take money that we've been really, I think, wasting and giving out as earmarks to different communities.
Speaking of wasting money, this Solyndra scandal that continues to grow, and $527 million that was lost, and now we're going to have executives out today pleading the fifth and not testifying in front of Congress. I'm just curious as to get your take on the fact that they're pleading the fifth, and is there anything anyone could do to actually get them to talk?
But it fits right into my bridges theme. $535 million to Solyndra is more than the state of Kentucky got for all of our highways last year. So, while he says he's making a grandstand down there wanting to build a new bridge in Cincinnati into Kentucky, he spent $535 million on basically, I think, a pet cause of his to people who are political contributors to something that no one thinks is economically valid.
Yeah. Solyndra. I don't know. $535 million just makes me speechless every time I hear it.
That's more than 35 states receiving highway funds.
Oh.
So if he's really for infrastructure, repairing our old bridges and our roads, why would he be sending money to pet projects to basically big campaign contributors?
I have to admit, Senator, I've lost track of it. But where are we on this continuing resolution and the threats of some to sort of shut down the government over this matter?
Well, I'm kind of with you. It failed the first time in the House, and then they had two directions they could go. They could add more money to it to get more Democrat votes, or they could take away more money to get more Republican votes. My understanding is they didn't do too much to it, but I think the House, I don't believe they voted last night, did they?
I thought the House passed it last night.
So they did finally pass it. So we're going to get it this morning. My opinion is I can only vote for, one, I don't think you should lump all your spending together. I really think you ought to have appropriations bills and a budget, and I just can't vote for all that stuff just thrown together in a pile. It's very little time to look at what's in the bill, and it's just really not the way government should function. But really the amount of spending, there is no glide path even over decades to balance the budget on the rate of spending. This will be above the Ryan levels, and the Ryan budget would have only balanced in 28 years. So it's hard for me to believe that I can vote for something that's less than the Ryan levels.
What about the government? The fact that every 3 months it seems like we have this chance of a government shutdown. And what that does, if that is an effective way to run government.
It's a crummy way to run government. It shows that nobody up here is doing the job they should be doing. We're supposed to have appropriations bills. I think it's about 12 different appropriations bills. They're supposed to match a budget. So when our appropriations bills come up, they actually come up. We have had one, and Senator Sessions pointed out it was actually done illegally. We made a point of order, and I supported him on this. You're supposed to match the appropriations with the budget, but there's no budget to compare it with. The budget's supposed to restrain or give overall numbers to the appropriations bills, but really lumping them all in either CRs or omnibus bills, it's not the way government should function. The bills are too enormous for anyone to ever get a handle on what all the spending goes to. Usually it's just sort of rubber stamps. They continue it for another few months, and they say, we're going to do a better job next time. The committees up here do not function. Nobody's doing their job in committee. It really is dysfunctional, but leadership just has to do a better job. And on our side, the leadership is the Democrats.
Senator Rand Paul, thank you so much for joining us here in the Morning Majority. Please don't be a stranger.
All right, thank you.